The Lamborghini Huracan is one of the most affordable EVs that you can buy in the Philippines right now. What do you mean it's not a Lamborghini Huracan? It looks like a Lamborghini. The BYD Seagull is one of the most affordable EVs that you can buy in the Philippines right now. But is it worth your money, or should you get something else? Let's find out. The BYD Seagull is positioned below the BYD Dolphin in terms of size and in terms of pricing. This is BYD's most affordable and smallest EV to date. Now currently we don't have the exact pricing for the BYD Seagull. Once we do get the pricing, we'll post it in the comments. But it's guaranteed to be below 1 million pesos, which would make it one of the most affordable EVs in the Philippines right now. The Seagull is 3,780 millimeters long, 1,715 millimeters wide, and 1,518 millimeters tall. That would make it just a bit bigger than the Toyota Wigo, and also that would make it the biggest EV that you can buy under 1 million pesos. The Seagull is like the automotive equivalent of a Chihuahua. It's tiny, but it makes up for its lack of size with a bit of aggression. It low-key looks like a baby Lamborghini Huracan. The styling is very sharp. You get a lot of these sharp lines and aggressive angles. You get these razor-sharp LED headlamps with these quad vertical LED DRLs. Now, since it's an EV, you don't need a lot of cooling here at the front, but BYD also made sure that it doesn't look plain like a Tesla. Like, you get a lot of these aerodynamic looking accents over here. The lower part of the bumper is finished in matte black, and you also have a bit of cooling down there. Now, it's more of a hatchback than a crossover, but you also get some rugged styling hints over here, like you have these flat black fender moldings over here. The Seagull comes with 16-inch alloy wheels wrapped in 175/65 series Linglong tires. This also comes with disc brakes on all four corners. As for the suspension, it gets a McPherson setup at the front and a torsion beam at the back. The side mirrors are power adjust, but they're not power folding. You also don't get repeaters over here. You got these gloss black B pillars. You also have this gloss black cut on the C pillar for that floating roof look. Now, I'm not a fan of the door openers. They remind me of the Wigo. The back end of the Seagull doesn't quite look as aggressive as the front, but you do get this LED light bar which spans across the width of the car. Also, all new BYD models will now get this BYD logo, which looks a lot better than the old logo, which spelled out "Build Their Dreams" in big bold letters. Cargo space is okay for the size of the car. I can fit my camera equipment and still have space to spare for a small luggage bag. The backrest for the second row folds in one piece, which doubles the cargo space, but you don't get a flat flooring with the seats folded down. Seen from the side, the Lamborghini comparisons start to crumble a bit, as it looks more like a child sneaker than a raging Italian supercar. From this angle, you can also see how much space the cabin takes up, as there's very little car in front and at the back of the cabin. It's really shaped to make the most out of its tiny dimensions. The Seagull comes in 3 different colors here in the Philippines. This right here is the hero color. It's called Sprite Green. It also comes in Dylan Black and Apricity White. The Seagull comes with a Type 2 CCS2 charging port, which means that compatibility is not going to be an issue. You can charge this at most major SM and Ayala malls for free. The Seagull comes with a Type 2 CCS2 charging port, which is the current standard that most local charging stations use. It also comes with a 7 kWh wall charger, so you can charge the car at home. The battery capacity is 30 kWh. To put that number into perspective, it is much smaller than the batteries of most EVs with the same range. But since it's such a small and lightweight car, you can squeeze 300 kilometers out of it. BYD Philippines estimates that will be spending 1.5 to 2 pesos per kilometer driving the Seagull. Now do keep in mind that a lot of major malls offer free EV charging. So it could be as low as 0 pesos per kilometer if you have easy access to one of these malls. The Seagull is powered by a single electric motor which sends power to the front wheels. It puts out 75 horsepower and 135 Newton meters of torque, which may not seem like much, but it's more power than most EVs under 1 million pesos. And it's also enough power to make the Wigo feel a bit insecure. Now, like the interior of the Atto 3, the interior of the Seagull has this playful look to it. You get these organic looking shapes in fun colors. Like this particular unit comes with a sky blue and black color scheme. Now, it doesn't look or feel premium, but it doesn't feel cheap either. Like most of these surfaces are made of hard plastic. Like this is hard plastic over here, hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic. But most of the touch points are covered in soft touch materials. Like the seats are covered in synthetic leather. They're both manually adjustable. You get a leather wrapped steering wheel. It tilts, but it doesn't telescope. This is leather wrapped over here. This is leather wrapped. And compared to other subcompact hatchbacks under 1 million pesos, like the Wigo and the Brio, I think this definitely looks a lot better. It's also not bare. Like you get a wireless phone charger over here, which is nicely positioned right on the center tunnel. You get cruise control, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You get a USB-C port over there, one USB-A port and one 12-volt outlet. As far as storage goes, you have a pretty sizable glove box, and surprisingly it is dampened. You don't have any storage on the center armrest, but you do get a center armrest, which you don't get on a lot of its competitors. You also have 2 cup holders over here and plenty of storage underneath this center console. Also, finding the shifter at first may be tricky, but it's actually over here. This tiny knob over here is your shifter. Of course, to put it in drive, just push down. To put it in reverse, push up. And to put it in park, just press this button over here. Now, the centerpiece of this interior is this 10.5-inch infotainment screen. Now, like a lot of its competitors, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But the party trick here is that you can do this. So you can rotate the screen so that it's in vertical orientation like this, or you can set it so that it's in horizontal orientation. And the display automatically adjusts depending on the orientation of the screen. Now, I've said before that we don't get a lot of physical buttons here for our climate control, but we do get a lot of nifty shortcuts here. Like if you want to adjust the fan speed, you could swipe right or left using 3 fingers, like so. So you have 7 levels here. 1 is of course the lowest, and 7 is the highest. To adjust the temperature, do the same, but this time vertically. So you have 17 levels here. This also has voice recognition, so I can just say, set the temperature to level 17.
Got it. Setting the temperature to level 17.
You do get a high resolution reverse camera with active guidelines. You also have front and rear parking sensors. Okay, so here at the back seat, space is just adequate for a person of my size. Knee room is okay. The flooring is completely flat. Thigh support could be better, but it's not so bad. Headroom is pretty decent. I have about 2.5 inches. Now, you don't get a lot of toys here though. You don't get air vents, you don't get USB ports, you don't get cup holders, and you don't get a center armrest. Also, I don't think you can fit 3 people of my size comfortably here at the back. It's really a 4+1 seater. Okay, so we're now driving the BYD Seagull. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed, but we only have 1 windshield wiper over here, but it's doing a pretty good job of covering my entire windshield. So you can see that it has pretty good coverage. Okay, now one advantage of having a small car like this is that your turning radius is pretty short, as you can see. So that's a full U-turn in about 3 lanes, or 2.5 lanes. Well, the Seagull only has 75 horsepower and 134 Newton meters of torque, but because it's electric, the power delivery is not quite what you would expect if you're used to ICE vehicles. It has significantly more power than the Wigo and a bit less power than the Brio. But if you floor it, it just feels different. The torque comes in much sooner and you get pushed back into your seat. Now you'll feel the lack of horsepower when you get to higher speeds, but at lower speeds like this, if you have to quickly accelerate, that's when you feel the advantage of having an electric motor. Oh yeah. Also, there is no engine sound, as you might expect. What you hear is a futuristic whine, which I can describe as something from Star Trek. Whoa! So this can do 0 to 50 kph in about 3.9 seconds. Let's do a 0 to 60. Okay, kph. Okay, 0, 64, 60. Okay. That was 60 kph. So yeah, don't let the numbers fool you. It feels quicker than the numbers will suggest. Yeah. Now in terms of handling, the suspension is on the soft side. If I do this, there's a lot of body roll. There's definitely a lot of weight transfer, and it feels like the rear end is gonna step out. And I'm only doing 40 kph. See what I mean? Could be the narrow tires. In terms of NVH, it is very quiet inside the cabin. Of course, you don't have an engine, so you don't hear any engine noise, but also it isolates you from outside noise pretty well. For an EV under 1 million pesos, the Seagull drives pretty well. It has more power than sub 1 million EVs like the Nanobox. It has better NVH than ICE competitors like the Brio and the Wigo. Handling is okay. I think upgrading the tires would improve the handling quite a bit. I don't think that it feels sporty in the sense that the steering ratio is quite slow and the suspension is a bit soft, but its small size should make it feel zippy in city traffic. The BYD Seagull comes with 6 years or 150,000 kilometers of general warranty, 8 years or 160k for the battery, and 8 years or 150k for the motor. BYD aims to democratize electric vehicles with their recent models, and the Seagull hammers that point quite eloquently. At its price of under 1 million pesos, the Seagull has achieved parity with ICE vehicles in terms of pricing. It is now almost at the same price as some entry-level ICE hatchbacks of a similar size. It is a lot more economical to run, it is coating exempt, and it's friendlier to the environment. Whether those are enough reasons to make people switch to electric, only time can tell, but the Seagull makes a pretty compelling argument.